Welcome back to Good Day DC. His life has always been an open book, and now he's the one telling the story. In the new autobiography, Mayor for Life, the incredible story of Marion Barry Jr., the 78-year-old Ward 8 councilman, finally tells his story in his own words, from his time as a civil rights activist to his reign as mayor of the nation's capital to his arrest and political comeback. Marion Barry joins us now live with more. Good morning, Mayor.
To you.
Good morning. Good
Thank
morning.
You for coming in. We appreciate it.
What a great day God has made.
Yeah.
All great days made by
every day
God.
we're alive is a great one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So look, your book. What's the purpose of it? Because we know about some of the political things. Your early life is in here. So what is the point? What is the thing you want people to take away from this?
It's very simple. I have been written about by hundreds of journalists, hundreds of photographs, in their words.
Right.
And I decided I would put
tell
it
your
in
own
my
story.
words.
Right.
Nobody can tell my story about me than me. People look at me as what? I'm the mayor of what?
Right.
I'm this. But no one looks at me as Marion Barry, that person, the person that God gave a lot of gifts to. And so this book is about inspiration. It's about overcoming. It's a textbook on political strategy. I'm one of the best strategists in the country. It's giving hope to those who have lost hope. And it's to also tell my side of how tremendously my administration has been as mayor for 16 years. When I got here in 1965, downtown Washington was a little sleepy southern town. No high-rise buildings.
600,000 people when you first got here, and a lot of unemployment.
Yeah, and more than that. But physically, Washington was like some southern place. Look at it now.
Right.
Because we got busy transforming downtown, transforming our neighborhoods, making it business friendly. We had double the number of hotel rooms now than we had then. Got a convention center that's the star of the nation. We got a Verizon Center that Abe Porter and I put together and built. And those are the kind of things that people want to know. People keep asking, well, why is it that people re-elect Marion Barry over and over again? They're really implying that people are dumb in Washington. People are not dumb in Washington. They're very bright. They're very brilliant. They're very knowledgeable about things. And they see what I've been able to do in terms of my administration. You know, our seniors, our young people, our business people, you know, minority contractors. I just take Bob Johnson as an example. Bob Johnson got the franchise for DC Cable, but he was an operator. He went to TCI to get that. So he immediately expanded to 20, 25 million homes with BET. But then he wanted some land to put the headquarters. It just so happens, out in New York Avenue, we had some land. And I agreed to give Bob Johnson that land lease, $1 a year lease, which got him on his way. Or Don Peoples, who's one of the foremost prominent black or white businessmen in America.
So it was about business and you stirring up a lot of
and about giving hope.
Right.
It's about jobs.
Something that wasn't happening at the time.
Economic disparity, closing the gap.
Mr. Barry, also in your book, you know, you have said for many years you didn't want your life to be defined by the corruption, the scandals, the issues from the Vista Hotel in the past, yet you talk about it quite vividly in the book. If that's not something that you wanted out there, why talk about it in the book, or why did you want to address it?
Well, first of all, if you're going to write an autobiography, you got to be honest. You can't be BSing and put the good in there and leave the bad out.
What do you say about it?
Wait a minute, just wait a second. Is that you got to do it that way. Otherwise, people won't believe you. And so you use words corruption. There was no major corruption in my administration ever. There was no scandal. What happened at the Vista was 24 years ago, where the FBI spent millions of dollars. What I did was apologize to Rashida Moore, apologize to my wife, Effie, my son, apologize to the citizens of Washington, D.C. and the nation. And we are a country of second chances. And so the people understand that. We all make mistakes in our life. I should have been in that hotel room, regardless of what the circumstances were. And so I understand that. But I don't want that to be the defining moment of Marion Barry. Marion Barry was more than the 2-year situation with the Vista. Marion Barry struggled hard, born poor and black in the Delta, Mississippi. If you look statistically, I'm not supposed to be here. Because the majority of people who were born in that era either went to Chicago, went to farming, or did something else. I don't know what they did.
Now, in the book, you talked about that. You talked about how your mother, when you were young, you were born in Mississippi, but she got you out. She got you out of there, and that kind of led you in another direction because you had to go to Arkansas and then Memphis and then Chicago, and then eventually ended up here in D.C.
Well, what happened was that my mother worked 10 hours a day. My father to chop cotton, pick cotton.
And he didn't go with you to.
No, at the end of the year, they made maybe $1,000, $2,000. We had a garden and all that kind of stuff. My mother got tired of having babies. I had 2 sisters, and working like that for nothing. My father didn't agree with her, and so she left and took us to Memphis. But the story about that is that it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It doesn't matter if you're born poor. I'm not responsible for being born poor. God does that. It's that you can overcome it. You can have the tenacity. You can have the spirit. You can have all that it takes that God gave us to get a rise above your circumstances. So this book is about hope, about overcoming, about some factual situation about what my administration did, which was tremendous. I did more for Washington, D.C. than any mayor anywhere in the country could have done.
Do you feel, and you said that you don't want what happened at the Vista to overshadow everything else that you've done, but do you feel that outside of Washington, D.C., that's kind of what people recognize or people know you for? Is that unfair to you? And is this book maybe a way to clear that up a little bit?
My biggest concern is the people of Washington, D.C. They are the ones who elected me. They're the ones who have faith in me. And so I'm going to focus on that. And the unintended consequences would be people around the nation would know more. But you'd be surprised. I was talking to a friend of mine from Morocco 2 weeks ago. He was in Morocco for about 2 months. He said, "Marion Barry, what have you been doing? They knew you over there. They knew me in 20 African countries, et cetera." And so my story got through in spite of that, you know. And so I don't want to spend more time on that. I want to talk about what it takes to get up, what it takes to win election after election. I haven't lost one election in my life.
Mr. Barry,
I've won 13.
I also want to get your response to this because I want to be able to hear your side of this. This is a review of the book from Mark Fisher at the Washington Post. He said in part, the autobiography is devoted to blasting the news media, the white political and business establishments, and white voters for the racism that Barry says led to his 1990 arrest on drug charges. What do you say to that?
Mark Fisher, out of all the articles he's written about Marion Barry, had never written one positive article in his life. And I don't know how he got the book. He must have done it somewhere or another because the publishers at Time and Schuster that she didn't send any books out to Mark Fisher.
But do you deny that you get into that?
I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to get into what makes
But do you deny that that is in the book, that you talk about the white political and business
people
establishments?
Read the book, that's all. Read it. Buy it. Well, if people to buy hundreds of them. I want you to buy one. Everybody
it's in there.
Buy one.
I'm asking you, do you
Well,
blame the white political establishment for being arrested? Do you take personal responsibility?
No. Now read it for yourself. No, absolutely not. See, the media has some Barry haters in it. A number of them in Washington. That Marion Barry can't do anything right. Regardless of what I do, it can't be right. And so I just ignore the Mark Fishers of the world. And people ought to ignore them too. You should have ignored them. But as a journalist, you cannot do that. But the public understands that. We've gotten more calls about this book since the Washington Post ran that crazy story, that there's the narrowness of it. What I say to people, my life is more than just one event. It's a whole series of events. Whole series of events. I've done, with God's help, incredible things. I was an incredible mayor in terms of what I delivered to the people of Washington, D.C., both black and white. But particularly for black people, I have been an inspiration. I have been someone who they can be proud of. They've been someone who will help them get out of what their circumstances are. And I just feel good about that. God gave me these gifts. I've lived 78 years, which is a miracle in itself. Because most people die at 60, 65. People who graduated me from high school in 54, I would say that 95% of them are dead.
The book is called Mayor for Life, and a lot of people affectionately refer to you as Mayor for Life. What have you not been able to accomplish yet for the people of Washington, black or white, that you feel needs to be done still?
I didn't do enough to build the black middle class, even though I did a lot. The economic injustices are still here. The gap is wide as it is. Look at the income gap in Washington, D.C. In Ward 8, $25,000 is the average family income. In Ward 3, it's $200,000. So I was not able to do all I needed to do to close that income gap, give people a sense of hope and realness. We have made people, the federal government, district government, have made people dependent on the government. We need to get out of that thing. It's like a new slavery. We're being dependent on the government all the time. So we're pushing for self-sufficiency and kind of get people to understand that they can do for themselves what they expect others to do if given the opportunities and given the resources. I'm sure that when Don Peoples came to me, he had no idea he would be where he is now. But he had an idea about putting a building in Southeast Washington. That's a dream of his, and I helped him do it through a lease. And so this book is about that. I'm not going to get bogged down in the haters and the Mark Fishers of the world.
Well, you never have.
Yeah, that's right. That's what pisses them off. You know, that I don't let them get me down.
Councilman Marion Barry, we appreciate you spending some time with us today to talk about the autobiography.
Go out and buy some books.
Mayor for Life is on shelves today.
From, go do it.
Thank you.
And he does have some book signings coming up as well.
All right.
We'll 23rd.
Thank you. Still ahead in our last half hour, singer Poe Johnson is going to join us live to perform her new single, Monsters. And while we wait for the Domino's delivery, Holly is hanging out with another Grammy finalist. We'll be right back.